Slow down. There is no rush, and you will make it. Sometimes I have to tell myself, okay, slow down, Savannah.
Savannah, slow down.
Yeah, you got to talk to yourself the way that you would talk to your friends, talk to your loved ones. And I'm hoping that it's soft. You know what I'm saying? Because, soft prayer was a whole thing. But I'm hoping that it's gentle. Because, gentle parenting was.
Savannah, slow down.
Because, gentle parenting was also a thing. Soft girl era, all of that applies to ourselves. How are we treating ourselves and not expecting anybody else to do it? If you can't treat yourself kindly, if you can't talk to yourself and uplift yourself, how can you do it for others? Better yet, how can you receive it from others? How are you going to recognize when somebody is treating you well if you don't treat yourself well? How are you going to recognize when someone is not treating you well because you are always treating yourself unwell? Listen, I had to slow down. I really did, because there was a lot of things going on. And quite frankly, the universe, spirit, God slowed me down. I reached 40 years old and had no idea what I was doing with my life or what to do with my life. My life had been defined by all the things that I was doing and not actually being. There were moments when I allowed myself to be, but then I would get caught up in the mix, caught up in all the different things. And if distractions came, I have always felt my best and done my best when I put me first, when I considered how I felt and considered the things that I needed and wanted and desired. Whenever I did that, things always flourish. But there are periods in time where, of course, I love to give. I am a person of service. But when that service begins to lose myself, when I begin to lose myself in that service, then there's a problem. When I begin to lose my purpose and lose my sense of being, then there's a problem. And quite frankly, I've been talking about the whole friendship breakups, and I keep saying that they're coming out. They are. There's just been a lot going on, which is why I had to.
Let's slow down.
So much of my identity was in the relationships that I had, not so much me outside of it. And the reason that those relationships even broke down was because I was finding myself outside of those relationships. Now, I'm grateful because God provides. I have a group of friends that we are so like-minded. We are part of the same collective and community, and it's beautiful how we uplift each other. But I am not allowing that to be my identity. I recognize and am grateful for those connections because community is necessary. I'm going to say it. At least for me, it serves such a beautiful purpose. But because I'm not allowing that to shape my identity, I'm really doing all right. I'm doing quite well. And I'm so grateful to have come back to myself. Our purpose is remembrance, remembering exactly who we were and are when we came into this world. What we wanted and who we are meant to become is a journey throughout this lifetime. And sometimes that shifts. Sometimes there are pivots that are necessary because adaptability, just like nature, storms come and go. And nature adapts. The animals, they adapt. They find their shelter, they hunker down, and then they come back out again, and life continues. So too have I mirrored my life in that way. There are going to be many waves and shifts that come, but not allowing myself to feel pressured or pushed into something that's not for me, that's not going to serve me. I release and let those go. I allow myself to hibernate, rest, and restore, and then I come back out again. And speaking of rest and restore and coming back out again, child, I had to tell myself to slow down because I was in the midst of packing for my travel, coming from travel. Mind you, this is what I prayed for. But coming back from travel, then recuperating, getting some work done, and then packing for my next travels coming up. And I'm in the rush. I was washing my mason jar that I was drinking my yummy watermelon juice. And I was like, make sure you don't drop the top. Make sure you don't drop the top. And I'm trying to rinse it and I drop the top. And I'm just like, slow down, Savannah. There's no rush. And that's also funny because I was in a group chat, an unhinged group chat conversation. We were talking about adult things, what women do with their partners. And one of the people in the group chat was just like, sometimes you got to tell him to slow down. What is the rush? Where are we going? What's the rush? And so in life and in many things within life, the beautiful connections that we have as well, slow down. Take your time. There is no rush. Even if you see that you are running late, slow down, you still won't get there. Rushing is not going to get you there faster, and it's certainly not going to make the process easeful. So slow down, and you'll be better for it. You will feel better for it. Hitting 40 years old and not knowing what to do, I realized that I was rushing through life. I got divorced at 34, and so I was like, my God, I have so many things I have to figure out. I have children and da 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 da. And trying to rush through the process of becoming, it wasn't doing me any service because I was missing so many things, missing red flags, missing cues, missing opportunities even, because I'm just rushing through the process of life when I really just needed to slow down. And the last time that the universe slowed my ass down, it came to a halt for 7 days. Well, baby, this time, that halt was a crashing skirt. Thankfully, I didn't end up in the hospital like I did the last time. But this time, I didn't have a job. I really felt lost. I had lost connections. I did not have the same friends that I had a few years prior to that actually were there with me through my divorce. And so there was a lot that I was processing, a lot of loss that I was processing. And last year, I actually experienced loss with people that I knew for a huge majority of my life. Going through that process and then experiencing a massive flux of energy from spirit, which I shared in my shorts when I began my workshop series. I began to find my purpose. It didn't have anything to do with money. I began to find myself and feel such beautiful energy. Now, we welcome money because money makes things flow, right? But I wasn't putting my identity in how much money was coming in. I wasn't aligning myself with things just to bring money. I told myself I'm no longer going to take jobs just because I'm afraid, because of the lack mentality. I'm not going to do that. The partnership really has to speak to my spirit and my soul, and there must be a mission and purpose that aligns with my mission and purpose. I have been living life and really standing up for myself, owning my decisions and owning the things that I want to do, calling in the things that I want to do. There were nights where I cried, absolutely. There were days when I cried, absolutely. But that was all the healing and processing that was necessary for me to come into acceptance and come into alignment. And the synchronicities, the web of this life began to connect me with what was necessary for me to be able to sit here and tell you to slow down. There is no rush, and you will make it. I will see you on the next time. For whomever the message resonates, you make it a great day.